Are we all set? Nobody says no, so I guess we're all set. Well, we have a press release, which I assume all the members of the press have received, which gives the specific information. As you know, we have received confirmation that Nelson Mandela will be here on June 28th. Is that right? Goes to land at 3 o'clock, stay overnight, and leave the next morning. He has a press conference scheduled, which will be brief, at the airport. When he comes in, he will move quickly to the hotel where he'll get some rest. Hopefully, if he's up to it, there'll be a couple of receptions at the hotel running at the same time. One for major donors and the other for major supporters, those who've been active and supported the struggle for freedom in South Africa. There'll be these receptions will be held at the same time. You go from one to another, if he's up to it. And he will go out to Tiger Stadium, and the program will start about 7 o'clock. He's scheduled to get there about 9, and will speak shortly thereafter. After which he will return to his hotel, get some rest, get up the next morning, and have breakfast with countrymen, fellow South Africans, and then leave for Los Angeles. Now, he will have been in Miami the morning of the 28th, where he's supposed to speak to a convention, AFSCME, I believe. So you can see he has a full schedule. We anticipate a full stadium. I gather that already some 20,000 tickets have been reserved. The stadium will seat about 50,000, about 49. We will provide for overflow somewhere downtown, either at Hart Plaza, maybe at Joe Louis or Cobo. There's even been some mention of Belle Isle. Those plans haven't been finalized, but as soon as we're sure, and it looks fairly certain from here, that there will be an overflow, we'll make provisions for it. I can't remember when any such activity has been greeted with such universal enthusiasm. As you know, from the very beginning, organized labor has been a part of these developments. Owen Beaver, president of UAW, could not be here. They're having an executive board meeting today in Memphis. So none of them are here, except that Owen is represented by Gerald Bantam. We also have with us, and we'll be hearing from in a few minutes, Reverend Charles Butler, who's co-chair, along with Owen Beaver, of the steering committee. I understand that Ralph Snyder from the Tiger organization has come. Is he here? Okay. Tiger Stadium, that is. Now, in addition, some of the persons who've been active on the committee, and this committee's been meeting every week, every Saturday, for the last 5 Saturdays, I believe, with subcommittees meeting all through the week. So it's been a very busy time. Some of the people who head up the subcommittees, for instance, Reverend Wendell Anthony, pastor of Fellowship Chapel, who is chairman of the Volunteers Subcommittee. Margaret Baylor, director of Detroit chapter of Trans-Africa, who's chair of Public Relations Media. Did have to look far, okay. Reverend Jim Holly, pastor of Little Rock Baptist Church, who chairs the Promotion Subcommittee. Paul Hubbard, president of New Detroit, Inc., who chairs the Civic Community Outreach Subcommittee. Dr. Arthur Johnson, president of NAACP, and also vice president of Wayne University, who heads the fundraising committee. Reverend Nayati, associate minister at Hartford Baptist Church, will chair the South African Community Subcommittee, Reverend Nayati. Windsor Mayor John Milson is chair of the Canadian Participation Committee. And I understand that Mayor Milson has already ordered some 1,500 tickets from the city of Windsor. Now, he has a representative here, I believe. Okay. Reverend David Adamami, president of Wayne State University, and Larry Patrick, president of the Detroit Board of Education, co-chair of the Academia Education Subcommittee. That's a fancy committee, isn't it? And Irma Henderson, who chairs the Women's Subcommittee. Irma. This planning has been going on, as you can see, with some awfully busy people. There are many, many more. I won't take the trouble of going into it now, but I feel good about the prospects. As you know, we've said we intend to raise $1 million, and I think we'll do it. Detroit is noted for its generosity. We raised more money for Bishop Tutu when he was here than any other city in the United States, and we intend to continue in that tradition. I feel good about it, and I'm going to ask Reverend Butler, who's co-chair along with Owen Beaver of that committee, steering committee, to say something. Reverend?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I can only say how excited we all are at the prospect of the visit of Mr. Mandela to our country, and the opportunity for us to join with those in South Africa who struggle for freedom in that struggle. His presence in our midst excites us even more because we see in him something tantamount to the embodiment of non-racial democracy and the projection and sharing of his dreams for an experiment in a living together of people of different cultures and races, which is expected to be successful, and when it is, can set the pattern for how we all might live together in the entire world peacefully, despite our differences. We invite and encourage all who will to join us in this endeavor and to enjoy not only an evening, but to share in a great dream and to help process that dream and bring it to reality. Thank you very much.
Gerald Bandham. I know why I overlook you every time. Would you care to say something? Representing Owen Beaver.
I'd just like to say on behalf of organized labor, we're very enthused, energetic to be part of this historic visit for Mr. Nelson Mandela. We in labor look forward to the 28th and will be very, very supportive.
Thank you. I started to call you Dip, and I asked Dave Moore to confirm your paternity. He said you were Dip Bannon's son, right? Okay. We go way back in Local 600. At least his father and I do. Now, any questions you like? Tickets are on sale as of tomorrow, is that right? 12 o'clock. And where can we obtain these tickets?
Ticketmaster locations.
At Ticketmaster locations. I might add that tickets are available to organizations and individuals on a COD basis. You can have as many as you want under those conditions. What's that?
How much are the tickets?
10, 20, 15, 100, 1,000.
How many $1,000 tickets have you sold?
Well, I'd rather tell you that there are, we haven't sold two, yeah, we have. And we expect to sell a lot more. There are any number of people who've given 10,000, 5,000, and that entitles you to a special seat.
So really, because of how short a time is going to be here, that will be the main event and probably just an incredibly huge event.
Oh yeah, it will be the event. There will be no other event open to the public except that one.
When you said an overflow area, you were talking about screens, large screens.
Yeah, where you can view what's going on and hear by television screen and loudspeakers. If it seems that there's that sort of demand, we will provide that type of setting somewhere in the downtown area, probably.
Do you think there'll be any opportunity for the press to speak with them? Would that be at the airport? Or?
There will be, but that's the only time I foresee it. I can't impress on you too much how incredibly taxing this man's schedule is. I'm sure you've seen for yourselves. And we have been admonished, and we've known that we have to preserve his strength. Now, as I told you, we're prepared to just let him say hello briefly to the press and keep going and call off the two receptions. Let Winnie or someone else handle those for him if it seems that he should have rest. Because I look at that schedule, and to speak in Miami in the morning and in Detroit at night and then to fly out to Los Angeles, that's worse than a schedule in a political campaign where you speak on the east side in the morning, the west side in the evening. He's speaking all across the country. And you throw in jet lag and time consumed on airplanes, and that's a taxing schedule.
You know, on that score, Mr. Mayor, some of the national organizers this morning were saying that they were asking certain cities to curtail what they had planned for Mr. Mandela.
We've already done that.
You've already cut out?
It's bare bones, you heard it.
What mentioned?
Well, in fact, we were among the first cities to suggest that.
That's what I was going to ask. You suggested it wasn't a matter of them coming to you.
No, we'd already done that.
What mention has ANC or any of its representatives made with regard to the Krugerrand issue or the bus glass issue? In
Only the press, based on misinformation and rumors.
has said anything about that?
I just answered you.
Mayor Young, will Mr. Mandela get a chance to go face-to-face with some of the business community?
No, he's not going to chance to go face-to-face with anybody.
Could you tell us who some of your major donors are that will be at that one reception?
Well, it's too early to tell. We have major pledges from the city of Windsor. We have several churches that have pledged 10,000, 5,000. UAW has pledged 200,000.
How about the business community, Mr. Mayor? How are they responding?
We're in the process of setting something up. We don't have anything that we can publish now.
NBD.
That's right, 10,000 NBD.
The press release, Mr. Mayor, refers to a visit to the Ford Rouge plant. Your recitation of the schedule doesn't include that. Is that one of the things that you've now cut out?
No, I'm sorry. That is definitely included. He will make that on his way from the airport to the hotel. It's on the way right off I-94, as you know.
Mayor Young, if you sell out Tiger Stadium at the prices listed here, how much money would that raise for the ANC?
It might raise close to $1 million.
Just the sellout of Tiger Stadium, sir?
Yeah, close to $1 million. It would be less because I think some 47, vast majority of these tickets are for $10 and $20. What are those figures?
38,000 $10 seats and 6,000 $20 seats.
So you have 44,000 that go for 10 and 20, with the vast majority of those for 10. And of course, as the $1,000 seats and $500 do not sell, they will fall into that category also.
Would tickets be sold for the overflow as well if they were in a location?
Say what?
Tickets would be sold for the overflow as well?
Well, we haven't figured that out. There's been some talk about holding a collection.
I mean, might there be a place where some of the people in Detroit who couldn't afford to buy a ticket could listen to it, or, you know, maybe over loudspeaker in Hart Plaza or something like that? Or?
We will arrange, we'll provide for that, yes.
Is there any consideration for maybe a video?
There will be video, yes, yes,
That'll be sold to the public afterwards?
yes.
Mr. Mayor, we know how important the visit is to Detroit, but can you tell us the importance of him going to the Rouge plant?
Well, as you know, Mr. Mandela has had strong support from the labor movement throughout his life. He's fought for the rights of labor along with the rights of all people. And so it's a case of mutual respect and mutual support.
Any plans for Winnie Mandela, anything for her from the women?
Yeah, she will be doing something with the women. And she, depending on she'll be on this rugged trip too. Depending on her level of energy, will be free to visit and to have affairs on her own.
Do you know what kind the plans are?
No, we have not talked with them about her availability.
Mayor Young, have you planned for any sort of entertainment in the 3 or 4 hours that people?
Oh yeah, there'll be speeches, there'll be choirs, there'll be entertainment at the stadium for the period. I think the gates are opening at 4 o'clock, I believe, 5 o'clock, and the program starts at 7. Mr. Mandela is not expected to get there until 9. So in the 2-hour period, there will be ongoing entertainment.
How long do you expect that he would speak then for?
I could not tell you.
Mayor, will this departure times of motorcade routes through the city from point to point be announced in case the public wants to see him along the motorcade route? For instance, when he leaves the hotel to go to Tiger Stadium, will that time and route be announced?
I doubt it. There are security considerations there, and we are really not in charge. The Secret Service is in charge there, and they put the kibosh on a number of things that we ordinarily would do. And so I'd be misleading you if I were to give you any information. I do not know. I doubt it, though.
And do you put much stock into these reports that a business is reluctant to come forward and contribute as much money as they ordinarily would for something of this type because they fear being politically aligned with the controversial ANC?
No, I don't, but the proof will lie in the eating.
Well, Mr. Mayor, do you intend to set the pace? Would you like to disclose what your personal contribution would be to the Mandela?
$10,000.
Mr. Mayor, how important do you see this visit in terms of the overall fight for sanctions against the apartheid regime?
I think it's essential. I think that the trip throughout the United States and the world, for that matter, should reveal a basic worldwide support for freedom and democracy in South Africa, and that has to have an effect on our government and on all the governments involved. Should strengthen the demand for continued boycott and other supportive steps. I think that the money is needed. Equally as important as the money is the moral commitment, I think, that will be evident.
Mr. Mayor, we came late. You may have touched on it already, but what will Windsor's role be in this visit? Will Windsor have a role in this visit?
Well, the mayors, like a number of other elected officials, will be joining with us. He's a part of this committee. And they'll be buying tickets and contributing money, the same as I am and we are. That's all of our role. I might indicate the press is not excluded. from participating.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
all of us here in the press have an idea about what we would want to ask Mr. Mandela when we get a chance, if we get a chance to be in his presence. What are some of the questions, or maybe one or two questions you might have on your mind that you want to ask Mr. Mandela once you first meet him?
I don't think I have too many questions with Mr. Mandela. I've known for 30 years what Mr. Mandela stands for. And I don't think that there are too many questions that I would ask him, especially during the busy visit that he has. I'd be pleased to receive any information that he will give, and he'll have a speech.
Mr. Mayor, I wonder if we could get a comment from Reverend Nayate about the significance of the visit.
Yeah, well, you know, Reverend Nayate is a native of South Africa, certainly. Reverend? Come up here so they can all hear you.
The significance of the visit has already been stated by the African National Congress, that he comes to thank the American people who have been supportive throughout the years that he has been in prison. And also he comes to receive monetary support from cities such as Detroit that know that apartheid is still alive and apartheid has to be dismantled so that the non-racial democratic South Africa will be experienced soon.
How important was your visit to South Africa to convince him to come to Detroit? Do you think your visit there was important, or did you convince him to come here?
Well, I don't know if we convinced him to come, or he was convinced by the fact that Detroit is a major city where labor resides, and this is where a lot of support has been coming from to our people in South Africa.
What kind of plans are there for the children of Detroit to participate in the celebration?
What's that?
What kind of plans are there for the children in Detroit to participate in the celebration?
The children will be at Tiger Stadium. There will be a ticket provided for them through the churches and through the various other organizations.
Are the security preparations for this event similar to, or do they supersede preps for the Pope and presidential candidates when they come to town? Are they very different?
Well, and they're different, but and they are at least equal, I would say, to the preparation for the Pope and for the President.
Any problems getting security for Mr. Mandela at all, from the Secret Service?
No, that was done in Washington and was arranged as a precondition, I would assume, of his coming here. The Secret Service has been on this and has already made several advance trips in. They're busily working. And sometimes their interference is a cause of resentment on the part of many of us, but when you consider the responsibility that they have, I think that they're justified in, if they make an error, make it on the side of caution.
Mayor Young, are you personally involved in trying to solicit contributions from some of the corporations?
I certainly am. I'm personally involved in trying to solicit cooperation from everybody.
How much are the corporations being asked to donate?
10, 20, whatever the traffic will bear.
And more than 20, or?
Some of the bigger corporations, yes. We'll let you know. There'll be a list published. I have a list here, but I'm not going to give it to you because it's preliminary. But it adds up to $316,000.
Mr. Mayor, is it your intention and the committee's intention to try to get this really to as many people in any form as possible in terms of broadcast television, radio coverage, live coverage, as well as print coverage in the national press? I mean, you certainly, since there aren't large free events for this, and you are trying to raise money, you could be tempted, for instance, to sell the broadcast rights to Tiger Stadium, this Tiger Stadium event, because that is a closed event. Has there been discussion of that, or is that your intention, or is it your intention to try to get anybody who can't get into Tiger Stadium, whether they go to some other place or whether they simply watch at home, to give them a chance to do that?
Well, as I indicated to you earlier, we intend to make available, if there seems to be a demand for an overflow audience, at Hart Plaza, or perhaps at Joe Louis, or Cobo, or perhaps at Belle Isle, an opportunity to hear and see on the screen the activities at Tiger Stadium as they occur. Now, in addition to that, I know at least 2 plans. I think Channel 4 is talking about doing a video and selling the video and splitting the proceeds with the Mandela Committee. I believe Channel 6, that is Cable 6, is talking about doing a special, the same as they did for the Pope. Now, Barden Cable won a national award for the special they did on the Pope's visit. They want to do the same thing for Mandela. So what they produce will be available to anyone. So it's at almost every level you can think of, we're attempting to disseminate this information.
And when the Pope came, I coordinated all the pool coverage of the Pope, pool television coverage, so all local stations could have access to the Pope.
Yeah.
Is it your intention to have similar kind of arrangement?
Yes. And we intend to go pool. In fact, we talked about that at the last meeting on Saturday. And we had a priority set up for local press, for national press, international press, cables, etc.
Mayor Young, I know you've said this before.
Are you with 4?
I'm Bob Rosbeck from Detroit Public Television.
Okay, 56.
Right.
Okay.
Mayor Young, I know you mentioned this before, but maybe you could talk a little bit more about it. If memory serves me correct, today is Mr. Mandela's 72nd birthday, which puts him at your level.
Yeah, he finally made it.
If you were going to go on a 45-day, 13-nation tour, much as he is, do you think, could you talk a bit about the staff needed for something like that, and maybe reflect a little on the possibilities that if he had to cut his trip short, what this city should do in his absence? Should we still have that celebration?
Well, I would hate to engage in such negative speculation, but I would say that it is our intention to go ahead with this celebration. Obviously, we're looking for Mandela, and I do not anticipate the situation in which he would not come. If he had to cut, I would assume he would cut somewhere else. Detroit being known as a stronghold of support for the freedom movement, and having demonstrated that support over the years. I can think of 2 or 3 places he could cut. I'll keep that to myself.
Mayor Young, what hotel will he be staying in?
What's that?
What hotel will he be at?
He'll be at the Westin.
Mayor Young?
Yes.
Will there be any additional security measures, and if so, what will those measures be during the Mandela trip?
Well, if I told you what they'd be, they would no longer be secure.
Well, Mr. Mayor, will the city of Windsor add some of their police force?
What's that?
Will the city of Windsor provide some of their police force to help in the crowd control?
No, we have not asked for that. I think we can handle it.
He brings his own security, does not, and then yours will add with it.
I don't know whether he brings his own security or not. I know that we will furnish security from Detroit Police Force, Detroit Police Reserves, and there'll also be Secret Service security. I think you ought to know the people who are part of this committee. There's Jerry Mosier from the Shrine of Black Madonna, Reverend Charles Adams, Reverend Wendell Anthony, whom you already met, Attorney Margaret Taylor, Owen Beaver, Jim Blanchard, Governor, Bishop P.A. Brooks, Reverend Charles Butler, Bishop Judith Craig, Bishop David Ellis, Reverend Edward Garies, Irma Henderson, Reverend Milton Henry, Ron Hewitt, Reverend Jim Holly, Paul Hubbard, Mayor Martha Scott. Is Mayor Scott here?